The town of Black Hollow had two golden rules. One, never go into the woods after dark, and two, never trust the man who walks alone. For centuries, it was a quiet, eerie place, tucked between shadowed mountains. A town so forgotten, it barely appeared on maps. The locals whispered of a war older than time itself, a war between monsters. They didn't speak of it loudly, only in hushed voices behind locked doors. But when Elias Crowe, a 17-year-old drifter with no past, arrived in Black Hollow, the delicate balance of terror began to shift. Something ancient and bloodthirsty had awakened, and this time it wasn't going to let the town survive. The bus pulled into Black Hollow at 11:45 p.m., its headlights slicing through the fog that clung to the trees like rotting fingers. Elias Crowe stepped off, his boots sinking slightly into the damp earth. He didn't know why he came here, only that something inside him had pulled him toward this town, like an invisible thread wrapped around his ribs, tugging him forward. He slung his backpack over his shoulder and turned toward the diner at the end of the street. The neon open sign flickered, barely clinging to life. Inside, the place was nearly empty. A waitress with haunted eyes poured coffee behind the counter, her hands trembling slightly. "Waitress, new in town?" Elias nodded. "Waitress, you need to leave before the full moon." "Elias, what?" She opened her mouth to speak, but her face drained of colour. A man had just entered the diner, a tall figure in a dark coat, pale as the grave, with eyes like hollow pits. The air grew heavy. The waitress took a step back. The man turned to Elias, and when he spoke, his voice was cold as the grave. "Man, you don't belong here." That night, Elias dreamed of blood and fangs. He was running through the woods, branches clawing at his arms, his breath coming in short gasps. Behind him, something howled, a deep, guttural sound that rattled in his chest like a death rattle. Then he saw them, eyes red as fire, claws like daggers, teeth dripping with hunger. One wolf, then two, then five, and standing in the center of them, himself. Elias awoke with a scream. Something was watching him. The window was open, and on the glass, a bloody handprint. Elias stared at the bloody handprint on his window. His breath caught in his throat. The crimson stain glistened under the moonlight, fresh and wet. His body felt frozen, his mind racing. Then, a whisper, not from inside the room, not from the hall, from outside. Low, guttural, almost human, but not quite. He crept toward the window, heart hammering. The cold air reeked of iron, the scent of freshly spilled blood. His fingers trembled as he reached out, and then he saw it. Eyes, not one pair, not two, dozens, glowing from the tree line, watching, waiting, hungry. Then a deep, monstrous howl split the night air. Elias stumbled back, slamming the window shut. His pulse roared in his ears. What the hell had he just seen? Wolves? No, not wolves. Something else. The whispers outside turned to growls. The eyes vanished into the darkness, and then silence. The next morning, Elias found the same pale man from the diner waiting for him outside his motel. Dressed in black, he stood unnaturally still, his skin almost corpse-like, his eyes sunken pits of darkness. "You saw them, didn't you?" asked the man. "Saw what?" said Elias. The man smirked, revealing teeth far too sharp to be human. "You're marked now. They'll come for you." Elias took a step back. "Who the hell are you?" The man tilted his head. "Someone who doesn't have much time left. If you want to live, don't go out during the blood moon." Elias opened his mouth to respond, but the man was already gone, disappearing into the morning mist like a shadow that had never been there. That night, the screams started. They came from the woods, ragged, desperate, human at first, then something else. A sound that made Elias's stomach twist in horror, something cracking, tearing. The smell of copper filled the air. Then the growls. The deep, inhuman snarls of things that shouldn't exist. Elias ran outside, following the sounds to the edge of town, where the streetlights flickered weakly against the dense fog. And there, in the middle of the road, was the body, or what was left of it. Torn open, ribs snapped like twigs, the flesh ripped away in great gnashing bites, and scrawled in blood across the pavement were two words, "You're next." The town of Black Hollow had a secret. Every 10 years under the blood moon, the truce ends. A truce between two ancient enemies, the lichens and the elders, the werewolves and the vampires. For centuries, they had coexisted under fragile, uneasy rules. But the blood moon, it was a calling. A time when the hunger became too strong, when the war began again. And this time Elias Crowe was caught in the middle of it, marked, hunted, cursed. And the worst part, he wasn't sure what he was turning into. The first sign was the fever. Elias woke up drenched in sweat, his body burning from the inside out. Then came the pain, deep, bone deep, like his skeleton was being ripped apart. His skin itched, stretched, burned. His teeth ached, his nails darkened, his eyes flickered between human and something else. Then a whisper in his mind, "Join us!" Elias screamed as the change took hold, and outside in the darkness the howls of his new kin answered. The fever raged inside Elias like a living thing, burning his veins, twisting his bones. He felt his body changing, his muscles coiled like steel cables, his jaw ached as if something inside was forcing its way out. Then the whispers came again. "Run!" It wasn't his voice. "Run before they find you." Elias staggered to the motel bathroom, gripping the sink so hard it cracked. He looked into the mirror, and what stared back at him was wrong. His eyes flickered between their normal hazel and a bright, predatory gold. His nails had darkened, thickening into claws. His skin looked paler than before, his veins dark like something unnatural was coiling beneath his flesh. Then, a crash. The window exploded inward, shards of glass showering over the motel floor. Elias spun, heart pounding. Something had just jumped through the window, something massive. A shape twice his size, covered in thick matted fur, its glowing red eyes locked onto him. The werewolf lunged. Elias dove to the side, barely avoiding the clawed hand that ripped through the air where his head had been. The creature snarled, saliva dripping from massive fangs, its breath reeking of blood and rot. Elias scrambled back, knocking over a chair. His chest heaved, his pulse hammering in his ears. Then something strange happened. His panic vanished. A slow, cold instinct crawled into his mind. He could hear the creature's heartbeat. He could smell the sweat on its fur, the blood on its teeth, and he knew exactly how to kill it. The beast charged again. Elias moved faster than he should have, ducking under its swipe and slamming his fist into its ribs. Crack! The werewolf howled in pain, staggering back. Elias looked at his own hands. His nails had elongated into claws. His veins pulsed with unnatural energy. He wasn't just human anymore. He was something else, and the monster in front of him knew it. For the first time, the werewolf hesitated. Then a gunshot. A silver bullet slammed into the werewolf's chest. It screamed, a sound so horrific that Elias's blood turned to ice. The beast convulsed, then collapsed, twitching as dark smoke rose from its wound. Elias turned toward the source of the gunshot. The man from the diner stood there, his pistol still smoking. His face was grim, unreadable. The man said, "You're turning, we need to go now." They drove in silence, the rain hammering against the truck's windshield. Elias stared at his hands, his body still thrumming with whatever was inside him. "Elias, you should be dead. That thing back there, how did you kill it?" The man's grip on the steering wheel tightened. "Man, because I know what I'm doing." Elias clenched his jaw. "Elias, what the hell is happening to me?" The man exhaled slowly. "Man, you're caught in the middle of a war, kid. A war between them. Elias, the werewolves!" The man's eyes darkened. "Man, and worse." Lightning flashed, illuminating the forest outside the window. For a split second, Elias saw something standing in the trees. A tall, thin figure cloaked in darkness. Its eyes burned red, its lips pulled back in a jagged grin, and then, in a blink, it was gone. "Man, we're running out of time. The elders know what you are now." "Elias, who the hell are the elders?" The man didn't answer right away. Instead, he finally turned, his face grim. "Man, the vampires who run this town." The truck pulled up to an old, crumbling church at the edge of town. The windows were boarded up, and deep claw marks ran along the wooden doors. "Elias, you sure this is safe?" The man snorted. "Man, nowhere's safe, but we need answers." He pulled out a silver knife, slicing open his palm. Blood dripped onto the ground. Then the earth trembled. The church doors swung open on their own. Inside, candles flickered to life, casting long shadows across the rotting pews. And at the altar, waiting for them, was a woman dressed in black, her skin pale as the moon, her lips curled into a slow, eerie smile. "Lilith!" "I've been expecting you." Elias felt the air grow heavy, thick with something old and rotten. The woman stepped forward, her fangs glinting in the candlelight. And suddenly Elias understood. She wasn't just any vampire, she was their queen, and she had been waiting for him. The vampire queen moved like smoke in the wind, gliding across the old church floor, her eyes locked onto Elias. She was inhumanly beautiful, but in a way that made his skin crawl. Her black gown trailed behind her like spilled ink, and when she smiled, her fangs glistened in the candlelight. "Lilith, I know what you are, Elias Crowe." Elias tensed, his body still humming with the strange power coursing through him. "Lilith, you don't even know what you are yet, do you?" "Not fully, but I do. I've known since the night you stepped into Black Hollow." The man beside Elias, the one who had saved him, tightened his grip on his silver knife. "Man, stay back, Lilith." Lilith's smile widened. "Lilith, always so dramatic, Hunter." She turned back to Elias, eyes gleaming. "Lilith, they haven't told you the truth, have they?" "Elias, what truth?" Lilith took another step forward, lowering her voice to a purr. "Lilith, you are neither wolf nor man. You are something far worse." The words coiled around him like chains, heavy, suffocating. Elias's pulse roared in his ears. What the hell was he turning into? The hunter, Elias still didn't know his name, grabbed his arm. "Man, we're leaving," but Elias couldn't move. Something inside him ached to hear more. Lilith. He wants to know. He can feel it. The truth is calling to him. The hunter pulled him harder. "Man, she's playing you!" "Come on, Elias." "Not until she tells me what I am." The hunter cursed under his breath. Lilith's smile was almost victorious. She gestured towards the stained glass windows, now cracked and covered in dust. "Lilith, centuries ago, before Black Hollow was even a town, there was a war, not between vampires and wolves, but between something older." Elias felt a shiver crawl down his spine. "Lilith! They were called the Nightborn, creatures neither fully wolf nor fully vampire, but something in between. Something more." Elias swallowed hard. "Lilith. They were the most powerful beings this world had ever seen, and the most feared." The hunter's voice was sharp as a blade. "Man, because they were monsters." Lilith laughed, a dark, velvety sound. "Lilith, oh hunter, everything is a monster to you." She turned back to Elias. "Lilith, they were hunted, erased, their bloodlines destroyed." "Elias, but if they were wiped out?" Lilith leaned in, her voice nothing but a breath. "Lilith, you are the last one." The words hit Elias like a hammer. The last Nightborn? No, that couldn't be right. He was just some drifter, a nobody. But the fire inside him, the unnatural strength, the speed, the hunger, told him otherwise. "Elias, you're lying." Lilith smiled. "Lilith, aren't you tired of being lied to, Elias?" The hunter grabbed Elias's shoulder. "Man, we are leaving now." But it was too late. The pain returned, like fire in his veins, like his bones were snapping, reshaping. Elias fell to his knees, gasping, his vision blurred, the world tilting. He heard Lilith whisper, "Lilith, let it in." And then everything changed. His teeth lengthened into fangs, his nails blackened into razor-sharp claws. His eyes burned gold and red at the same time. Not wolf, not vampire, both. The hunter backed away, horror in his eyes. "Man, oh God, it's true." Then the doors of the church exploded inward. The werewolves had come, and they weren't alone. The first beast lunged. Elias barely had time to react before his instincts took over. He moved faster than he ever had before, ducking under the werewolf's claws and slashing upward with his own. Blood sprayed across the altar. Another wolf charged, but Elias, no longer fully human, met it head-on. He grabbed the beast by the throat and threw it into the pews, wood shattering on impact. Behind him, Lilith laughed. "Lilith, oh, this is delightful." The hunter pulled out a silver dagger, driving it into a wolf's skull. The werewolves kept coming. Then another explosion. The front wall of the church collapsed inward, dust and rubble filling the air, and through the dust a new figure emerged, tall, dressed in black armor, his face hidden behind a mask of bone, and when he spoke his voice was cold as death itself. "Wolf King, kill the boy." The werewolves hesitated, then they bowed. Elias's blood ran cold. "Elias, who the hell is that?" Lilith smirked. "Lilith, the Alpha of Alphas, the King of the Wolves." Elias barely had time to react before the Wolf King charged. The world exploded into motion. The Wolf King was too fast. Before Elias could dodge, a massive clawed hand wrapped around his throat and slammed him through a stone pillar. Pain tore through his body, but he barely had time to breathe before the Wolf King was on him again. Fangs flashed. Claws tore. Elias's vision blurred red. Something inside him snapped. He let go. Of fear, of hesitation, of his humanity. The beast inside took over. Elias roared, grabbing the Wolf King's wrist and twisting until bones snapped. The beast howled, but Elias wasn't done. He slammed his fist into the Wolf King's chest, once, twice, 3 times, until the beast staggered back, golden blood leaking from its mouth. The church shook as their battle raged on. Then a cold voice cut through the chaos. "Enough." Everyone froze. At the entrance of the ruined church stood another figure, dressed in ancient robes, eyes black as endless night. Lilith's face finally showed fear. Oh no. Elias barely had time to process what was happening before the figure raised his hand. And suddenly, Elias couldn't breathe. The shadows themselves wrapped around him, pulling him down into the abyss. The darkness wrapped around Elias like living chains, pulling him into a void where there was no light, no air, no escape. His body twisted, his bones screaming in protest. The world blurred into nothingness, and then silence. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the church. He was somewhere else. The air was thick with whispers, voices murmuring in languages he didn't understand. Shapes moved in the distance, tall, jagged figures shifting like living shadows. He wasn't alone. A deep, ancient voice echoed through the void. Elias turned. A figure stood before him. Not a vampire. Not a werewolf. Something worse. Its body was wrapped in tattered black robes, its face obscured by a hood. But beneath the hood, Elias caught a glimpse of eyes like twin voids, endless and hungry. The thing smiled. "Varzul, at last you return to us. Welcome home, Nightborn." Elias's body trembled as he stood frozen before the figure. The figure's voice was a whisper and a roar at the same time, crawling into his mind like a disease. The name burned in Elias's mind. He had heard it before, buried deep in his nightmares. Varzul took a step closer. Elias's pulse hammered. The thing laughed, a hollow, soulless sound. Elias's head throbbed, memories surfacing, visions of blood-soaked battlefields, ancient creatures waging war under crimson skies, entire villages devoured by darkness. It wasn't just his memory, it was the memory of all the Nightborn before him. Elias, who What are you? Varzul. I've had many names, but you may call me Varzul. You are the last of your kind, but you are now incomplete. Elias. I don't belong here, Varzul. Oh, but you do. You were born for this. Varzul extended a clawed hand. Elias felt it, a terrible, monstrous hunger curling in his gut, a choice, power beyond imagining, at the cost of his soul. For a single agonizing moment he considered it. Varzul, accept what you are. Take my power and become whole. Then a voice broke through the darkness. Elias's body jerked as reality came rushing back. Man, wake up!